for some reason. I don't know why. And we're live with the Meta Lab. It is the last week before Origins. It's June 4th. And I have some Brazilians with me. Neither of whom I'm presuming are playing at Origins, and neither am I, but I'm working for WizKids. That's something. We have Thiago.
Hey, guys.
And we have our usual rotating, beloved co-host, Pedro.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
And we actually have a fair amount of previews, news, whatnot to go through. Before I forget, I wanted to mention that we're doing next week's Meta Lab as per normal, me hosting and whatnot. But on Sunday, so 6 days from now, we're going to do our big round table glass cabinet inspired pre-big event thing. I'm working on the guest list, and I have to ask people. Jason's going to be hosting this one because I'll be unavailable, but we're going to be doing all the pre-Origins awesome talk. And that being covered, we're going to lose my face for a little bit while I go over the remnants of convention exclusive previews. So first of all, we have absolute confirmation from the box that the Blackbird comes with the 5 ID cards previewed with it, just in case that was still a thing people weren't sure about. We have the last dial of convention exclusives of the winnables, which is Kingdom Come Power Woman, who has the same usual 2 traits. We've seen them 10 billion times. She has a 160 point value and a 25 point value. She has the Justice League, Justice Society, Kryptonian future keywords, all pretty typical. I'm very happy about the second one there. Her lower dial comes with the only special power you'll see on this dial. The only reason it's a two-fold card is because just all this is so much text. So we have her movement power, which is Justice League Enforcer. At the beginning of your turn, action total +1. So not leadership, but the action part of leadership stacked with it. Good stuff, as well as an 18 defend and enhancement, as well as if you're obviously playing a named theme team, she's not really going to be doing anything besides your theme probs, which is also helpful. Her full dial is not quite as useful for competitive, I don't think, but I will defer to my 2 co-hosts as to their opinion. I guess we can start with Thiago first.
So she'll be fun to use and casual, but not competitive, because at her paper cost, you can just auto her defense and stomp her too. With a 3 damage hit left her with 10 attacks, so on the full point he'll be too weak for the value. On the lower dial, she's fun, but she needs to get too close to other characters. 18 defense isn't something that will protect you a lot, so isn't that something you can run on it. So casual one.
You were cutting out there a bit, but I think we got the gist of it. Pedro, any other thoughts?
No, I agree. She only 6 range. 18 defense is not too bad, but like Thiago said, you just need 2 damage to then have penetrating finish the job with her. You're spending 160 points on her. The 25 points is cool, but you have leadership for 25 with mobile characters, so it's maybe was an energy shield deflect instead of defend. She could last a little longer or force your opponent to come closer at the 25 points only. What I mean, but like Thiago said, it's casual, but it's too much of a commitment of points to just take 4 damage in the first click and then have the penetrated for the rest. Not worth it.
Yeah, it's really too bad that the ID card you can call her in with, which is funnily enough because of the real name, the Supergirl one, retired the day. I guess technically that day, the day before, whatever. But it's not a bad inspiration. It was kind of funny. I noticed that you couldn't actually use the Power Girl ID for her, but you can still use the Supergirl, which is for Rock Age +1 damage inspiration. That's a really beefy dial for a call-in. Either stealth busting, range 12 and 5, and power might be useful, or just charge with an object with knockback is good. Good inspiration and whatnot. Of course, you can't call in the lower points, but she does look very fun for casual, though.
Yep,
definitely definitely, I think my favorite of all the convention exclusives for this year. But moving on, we have ID cards for some of the villains, and I grabbed this picture from one of the English people who actually got to get these ID cards and put it in a trade post. But we have not shown as the Poison Ivy picture, but their files makes more sense than just a regular ID card, I guess. But they all have good art. They all look good. I don't actually have the images in front of me of the actual things, but I don't think any of them have alternate names. But I am going to really quickly double check my phone where I have all the images. But I'm pretty sure none of them have alternate names or alternate identities, because that's not really a thing any of them would have. Just give me a second. No, I don't know where it is on my phone. Either way, it doesn't really matter, because that's not what we're... I mean, there's no characters that have alternate whatever. So they work slightly differently than the other ID cards, where they had one of Inspirations. They have Intimidate. And that reads, when the ID character is placed on the map, choose one to last until your next turn. Opposing characters within 3 squares can't use the listed Intimidation power or powers, or opposing characters within 3 modify their attack -1. So, unlike Inspirations, where some of them are more or less good, you can pick and choose. None of these are really bad, per se, but I don't know. I feel like you're probably going to get the -1 attack versus Harley Quinn's exploit. But we do have Joker for Perplex, so we did lose a Dr. Fate ID card, but you can use Joker to shut down Unimind Perplex. Poison Ivy gets rid of Poison. It's okay if you're afraid of a Poison character damaging your Mastermind character, because that's like a way to get around it. Obviously, Probability Control is a good thing to get rid of, but the only Two-Face we have starts with a Defend dial. It only has a 50-50 chance to change into an attack and dial, so we're definitely waiting on one coming out of the Batman set. NACAP is okay on Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
We also have the rest of the X-Men IDs. There's 5 of each. We've already seen Colossus and Professor X. So Psylocke gives Exploit, which is good, I guess, except for the fact that there's not really a spectacular Psylocke to call in.
Yep.
We don't have a Rogue in Modern, right?
I'm trying to remember. No, I don't remember.
The last one was UXM, so she just rotated.
Yeah, UXM. Yeah, she just left. Well, there gotta be.
I mean, I'm sure that we'll get another one. Banshees is probably the best, where he has, when hitting with a range attack after resolutions, give all hit characters an action token. So, improvise, stunning blow, whatever, basically. Seems good.
And we have the new Banshee that is a headmaster also.
Yep.
Yeah, we have one with Pulse Wave as well, right? So that.
Yeah, the problem is he's 75 and not 70, so you can't Sam cap him in. But still,
no, he's 85. 85.
Yeah.
I thought it was 75. Either way, doesn't really. I mean, actually, no. I happen to have him right next to me. He's either 75 or 40, and for 40 points, you get Running Shot with his own attack power, which is if he hits an opposing character, give him a token if they're lower points, but he's 40. So yeah. I guess if they have a really annoying pog, I don't know, but you're hitting them I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, so intimidate for options is a good thing, right?
Yeah, it's decent. It's not as strong as Inspiration, but in the right situation could be helpful. I was thinking that you can call, correct, you can't replace, but you can call title characters, right?
Yes. I don't know why people think that you can't, but you absolutely can.
Yeah. So calling a title Harley Quinn there to do her +3 energy explosion with giving tokens, it's gonna be pretty sweet.
Yeah, even Joker could do some decent. I mean, I feel like of all of the options of Jokers to call in, that's the last one you're going to call in. But being able to either reposition his +1, I'm reading it right now, is free, deal 1 damage to each adjacent opposing character. So not quite poison, and he has that wit to go with it, and he can attack on top of it. That's good. Or he has -1, which he can use because he has -1 and he starts with 3, so he can definitely use it. Free roll d6 on a 1 to 2. Move all adjacent opposing characters up to 2 squares and they break away automatically. That's good. 3 to 4. Give all adjacent opposing characters an action token, which is also good.
Also, yep.
Or deal each, if you roll 5 to 6, deal each adjacent opposing character penetrating damage equal to the number of action tokens on them. Those are all good options. So
Yeah.
he's okay. He's 11-3. Maybe you can set him up to charge, pick up a light object, but Harley, though, either the energy explosion or that plus superplex if you really need it, and also the intimidation or the -1 attack seems good.
Yep.
And then we have the UK Nats winning team. Keep in mind that this is before. Sorry, I'm coming off being sick. So. Avengers Infinity wasn't legal for this event because the UK release date is apparently the 15th this month. So we have Unimind with 3 Eternals, probably Cersei, Makari,
Makari, yeah, the
Yeah.
3 regional.
Oh dear.
Oh my god.
Not theme. Also has a Lockjaw, Carnage, Symbiote, Object, Inserters. So pretty traditional Unimind build, except for the no theme when Cosmic is it. I guess without Infinity,
Yeah,
less incentivized to. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
with
considering
80,000.
going to this event, but it was just too expensive. I would have probably done. What was it? I was going to do the Symbiote, the Unimind, Lockjaw, 3 Floras, and then a bunch of ID cards. But
Nice.
and then I guess that has to be the Invisible Jet terrain because it's the only DC special terrain besides.
Because you can heal Unimind.
Well, it's
and
not the
restore
boxing.
it, so
Yeah, so that's the Invisible Jet, which is good.
Yep.
I think they had 18 players there only, which was kind of surprising, but also kind of not because I'm sure they have a way smaller community.
Yeah.
But congrats to the winner,
Yep.
especially considering all the prizing now, like Infinity. What was it? I think it was an Infinity Factory set, which I don't even want to know what that would look like. But
Yep. It's everything plus the chase sets already, right? Oh, as well, right?
yes, you get 2 chase
Yeah.
primes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And
And then finally, we have a round of TMNT previews from comicbook.com. We start off with Pixelated Bebop, which is unfortunately a little bit hard to read. But he has Foot Clan, TMNT Villain, Animal, Pirate, and Warrior keywords. He's a rare. 5 range Indom. He has a trait. Oh, am I missing some previews? I'm missing a couple of previews. I'll have to bring them up.
maybe. Oh, we can go back. We can finish this one and go back.
Yeah, I'll grab those after. Level Boss Flashing Orange, which is a common trait to some characters from the video game. The first time each game Bebop will be KO'd, instead turn him to click number 7. Then heal him 1 click if an opposing force has 1 or 2 characters on it. Otherwise, heal him 2 clicks. So the more characters they have, the more he heals, and this trait's Protected Pulse Wave. Trait, Stop Getting in My Way. Once per turn, when a friendly character within 3 squares named Rock City hits with an attack that's part of a costed action, after resolutions, Bebop may make an attack. If he does and misses, deal that Rock City when unavoidable. So, like the last one, the ones from the second set, they're kind of bumbling and getting in each other's way. It's cute. He starts with a running shot to go along with his attack power, which is in cap, and when he uses it, after resolutions, hit characters are dealt 1 penetrating damage and can't move or make attacks during their next turn. Pedro, what do you think of this Bebop?
Oh, it's well, for meta, for constructed and modern, definitely I don't think it's gonna make it. He's fragile, even coming back with super senses and prob, which is viable unless you're playing a Unimind or a very concentrated 1-2 character team. Even the temptation of his survival, I think you can pull out some crazy combos. I don't think he necessarily needs Rocksteady to be great. I like his special power a lot, but I like it a lot more when you can't call an ID. It's like a limited scenario. That can be very devastating. You can, put some perplexes in there, put some cap so that he can keep doing it every time because it is incapacitated and it's costed. So, running shot incapacitate someone, keep him locked there. call a storm to triple target and do the same thing again, and have title cap. I think you can pull a lot of shenanigans with him in limited, but I think that's as far as he can go because he's very fragile. You can eat through him easily. And in modern, doing the move or making attacks won't prevent you from calling an ID. So likely not that you 100 points that you're betting too much on any specific gimmick to make him work.
Tiago?
I have to agree with Pedro, but just one thing I would like to add is that I love the boss trade because the flash stuff reminds me of playing the arcade version or the Super NES version, and you hit the character, he gets KO'd and starts to flash other color. I love it straight.
Like you're getting close. You're almost there. You've done the first
Yeah.
stage. Now you just have to do it once more. Yep.
Just before. One sec. Did we miss? Oh yeah, we missed a couple. Before we go on, I did want to confirm that I was wrong about two of the villain IDs have alternate identities. Harley has Dr. Harleen. Quinzel as another identity, which
the support
is
characters in the set.
It's not really relevant. And then we have Harvey Dent for Two-Face. So that's also not relevant unless who knows.
Batman TAS. Likely relevant then, but not now.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on to the Rocksteady, who's also a rare. Same level boss trait, same stop getting my way trait, except it references Bebop instead. He starts with charge to go along with his special attack power, which is blades. When he uses it, increase the result of the d6 roll by the number of action tokens on the target. I don't really think we have to say that he's not that great either, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's slightly better, but just he's not making it.
He's better, but
it's a great combo. I think it's fun if you get them both to act together. Each one attack, you get the incapacity, you get some tokens. You get someone with 2 tokens and hold a penetrating blades. Exploit blades for d6+2 is really cool. But the odds of getting this to work without them being destroyed, or at least removed on their first 3 clicks, which is very easy to do. Again, as you're betting a lot on making this work, and with their range and with their short not short die, but a short survivability. You're not gonna if you pull it off, it's gonna be epic. But you're gonna do it every 30 games if you're lucky.
Yeah, you have to make them arrive. So the big problem, you have to get them and make sure they arrive to your opponent before they get attacked. But you're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would be maybe playable if he had an ID card, but that is not the case.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have Shredder. And apparently, Shredder is just always good in this game.
Yes, exactly.
He's 80 points in Dom. Foot Clan, TMNT villain, martial artist, mystical ruler. So, plus 20 optional trait looks like. So he also gets to be 100 after that. Free, if no friendly character named Shredder Illusion is on your force, generate this set 005 Shredder Illusion. Your opponents don't score that character. Unfortunately, we don't know this dial yet, but I mean it can't be bad to just be really bad. It's a character.
If he has Mastermind and is not outwitted, at the very least, it's one more thing to kill or work around every round for his Mastermind.
Yep.
Once you're done, change.
Yeah, it's a lot of dial to go through. He has a game boss trait, but it's flashing red. The first 2 times each game, Shredder will be KO'd. Instead, turn him to click number 6, and then heal him 1 click. If an opposing force has 1 or 2 characters on it, otherwise heal him 2 clicks, press the pulse wave. So the same trait as the other ones, except he gets to not die twice a game. In best case scenario, he ends up on click 4, which is not bad. It's just not as good as his top clicks. And on those last 3 clicks, he gets Outwit. When Shredder uses it, the targeted character can use Earthbound Neutralized until your next turn. Tiago, how do you feel about this version of Shredder?
First thing, every Shredder in this game don't die. Shredder can get killed. I don't know why they make Shredders that doesn't die. Second thing, I love this character. He's amazing. I really think that he has some meta potential. But we need to see the illusion first before saying something. But I really think that he is awesome because he can call in the best characters that are Wolverine and Cyclops. He survives. He has high damage if you get too close. He resurrects 2 times. He has an outfit that is awesome. Next is Shredder. So Shredder can't go wrong with Shredder.
Pedro?
Oh, not much I can. I totally agree. He also has a lot of interesting keywords, outside of the TMT universe, martial art, mystical, because why not have everything like that and mystical? So I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah, mystical is never really a bad keyword.
Yep. It's funny because 12 blades and 4 damages to make, they really wanted to dish out some damage either. So it's crazy combination there.
You still roll blades as your minimum is 3.
Yeah, this 3 is still worth it. Yep.
Then we have one of the pogs. Oh wait, no, I skipped the other one. Whatever, I'll go back. We have the Mudman, 20 points with traded plasticity. Mudman starts the game with 2 life tokens and gains a life token each time he KOs an opposing character. When Mudman would be KO'd if he has any life tokens, instead remove 1 and protected Pulse Wave. More don't die tech. Has Sidestep, Quake, 10 attack, 17 super senses, 3 shape change. Pedro, what do you think about the Mudman bystander?
I'm gonna be trash. I don't mind. I don't dislike him at all. I know it's 20 points. It's a pog, but shape change, super senses, and you have to hit him twice to kill him, and pulse wave doesn't count. You're still gonna have to pulse. Yeah, exactly. So we have the pulse wave is still useful to go through shape change and super senses. But again, you're pulse waving a pog. By the time things must be really bad for the opponent. But I don't dislike him. The problem is we have Carnages, we have Groot, we have so many great feelers at the lower point currently that I think it's gonna be hard to find a place for him. But reviewing him as a standalone pog, I don't think you're wasting 20 points. I think it's pretty decent.
I don't disagree at all, especially considering he doesn't break theme. Like, if I was playing a Mastermind character, I would totally want to use him, especially with the ability to get more of the tokens.
Yep. And with Quake, an easy Quake, go after some pogs, KO some other pogs. Oh, it has to be characters. I don't remember. Sorry.
Sorry, what?
Pogs. You can
pogs are still characters.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be a standard character, so he can clean up pogs with Quake and be immortal.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point.
And he has plasticity on top of it.
So go with the chair Joker and be a happy man.
Oh, you can already, if you want to be I'm not going to swear. If you want to be a person of ill intent, you can just for fun put Groot and Photom, give the guy the scientist, bring the scientist with Photom, kill him with the Mudman, and you already have 3 tokens you begin the game with.
That's seems pretty good.
You make the victory.
The what?
The victory dance.
The victory dance.
Yeah. Or you hope that your opponent has King Shark, you pull the pog over, but then you just leave him there because, you have Power Cosmogon Photon, you don't really care that much.
Hey, just leave it there just to remove his +1 to everything. Just give him, ruin it.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I forgot to mention that the second UK player was playing 2 King Sharks, King Aquaman, Carnage, and some sort of other filler, but he had exactly 6 characters.
Alien. He was Alien also.
And what?
Alien, the X-Men that has.
Yeah, throw the sharks away, the Sharknado, everybody.
Sure. It's a good thing Groot was not legal. But we finish off this round of previews, and I'll go and grab the other ones. We have the Capture Bot with 2 range, 10 points, 5 movement plasticity, poison, toughness, no damage. I don't see this thing ever seeing play, unfortunately. Anybody disagree?
Not at all.
I remember these guys on the arcade, and they
Yeah,
did a lot of damage there. So this bug's wrong.
exactly. And it was not poison.
Why does it have Indom? It's never doing anything. I don't know. Stop
Probably
screen.
so that he can
Oh,
move
not
twice and
stop
try to
broadcast.
tie you up,
I'm
but
just
not
gonna
more than that.
stop screen sharing so nobody sees all my stuff. And then I will grab the other previews and then screen share again once I pull up. Maybe they're on the WizKids page. The problem is all these previews come from 10 million different sources.
Yeah.
So just a second. Did we talk about? We talked about the Splinter, Mikey, Raph. Okay, here we go. Just pulling up the images.
But really, the Mudman Pog is awesome. You can run a team with 5 of it and just stay laughing at your opponent trying to KO.
I'll put it. It's likely better maybe for Mastermind than a couple. Well, the Joker Tug with the Joker is amazing, but for other Mastermind fodder, it's a pretty decent Mastermind fodder.
Yeah. And even Shredders can try to base you and get stuck in the plasticity, so you can just, okay, stay there.
Okay, I'm going to screen share again. It'll let me. Technical difficulties are always fun. We have Sergeant Granitor with the flashing orange trait and a special attack power, which is a psychic blast. When Sergeant Granitor hits an opposing character with a range attack after resolutions, deal 1 penetrating damage to each opposing character adjacent to the hit target. Pedro, how do you feel about Sergeant Granitor?
It's fun again. It's fun. It's those mechanics that try to push a little bit more, but I don't see work. I like leadership, but he lacks move and attack. He lacks only range of 5. Don't have no indomitable penetration can neat through him, even with the flashing cap. So nice attempt, but sorry, doesn't cut it. To be honest, too many points.
Tiago?
Yeah, for a Sergeant protecting someone that survives more, so I agree with Pedro. He's too heavy for surviving not so much, dealing not so much damage also. Meh.
I'm getting some sort of weird noise from money. I don't know who it is.
Is it better?
I think that stopped. We have Baxter Stockman with the flashing orange trait, and he has a special attack power that he starts off with. He also has TMNT villain, animal, monster, scientist keywords. So he has TK, and when he uses it, modify his attack +2. He's okay for casual. I don't think you're ever playing this guy in competitive. Anybody disagree?
I think he's fun because of the arcade, the video game, because every time I see this guy, I just remember the big 3 AM and the awesome music starting, but besides that, no, forget about him. Maybe if I'm playing some turtle scenario or something like that, but no, not for meta, only for casual.
Yeah. It would be awesome if he modified the attack of whoever he TK'd by +2. Then you could discuss his viability. But what he does, it's all small, nice things that don't add up and not worth it for 80 points.
Yeah. I can't remember if we did this, Raph, already. He has the Tales of the TMNT trait, where basically for all the characters with that trait, you get to pick one of the different tails, and then all of the characters get to use that. And his particular variant is Empower, as well as improved targeting characters and hindering. He gets a special attack power later, where when Raph hits an opposing character, that character gains immobile until your next turn. And he has invulnerability to start with, and adjacent friendly characters with TMNT or TMNT ally Modify defense +1. Tiago, how do you like this RAF?
I really like the tails trait because you can make lots of things with that, but you need turtles to see if it's gonna be good or not. He's fun. I don't think he'll make too meta, but I really like the ways that they are making these characters.
Yeah, he looks fun, which is not a bad thing. Pedro, any other thoughts?
No, I think he does. He does. To me, he's the glue to gel the other turtles together. +1 defense to everyone. Empower and ignoring characters and hindering is amazing. So, yeah, they'll make the if you make a turtles team with this tail, the super rares, it's gonna be the strongest casual team you will likely see, but still short of meta. They are fragile. They're not that much cost. They work very well, but that's gonna be it. A fancy super
But they
casual
look
team,
awesome
but
on the table.
yeah,
Yeah.
They look amazing on the map.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing. I mean, considering the small scale of the set, we're still looks like we're having about the same proportion of characters that are going to be meta. It's just the smaller set, so each individual character is less likely to be
Yeah.
meta. But moving on,
But
we
quick comment,
have
just you get those maps with a lot of water, and these guys put together, they're gonna have a 19 to 20 defense against ranged attacks, right? Because the dolphin gives +1 against ranged on water. Am I good or am I crazy?
Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
So have fun with the others, get a water map, and you might again you might see some crazy stuff in the hands of a skilled player, might pull something off, but it's not gonna be meta.
Mm-hmm. We have Donatello, where he has the tail straight. It's on the Nicktoons versions. His tail is this character has protected, opposing, perplex, opposing prob. Seems good. I mean, your
Yeah.
opponent's not perplexing you most of the time, but no opposing prob. That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. He has Master of the Bow Staff, where he starts and ends his dial with it. When Donatello hits an opposing character with an attack after resolutions, choose one, give the hit character an action token, or the hit character modifies defense -1 until your next turn. He looks really good and fun for casual, but again, not really going to shake up the competitive world, I don't think.
We have to agree that he's the best Donatello we have, actually. If you get all the Donatellos, this is the best one.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt at all.
They're improved.
Pardon?
One thing I liked about him is the fact that you can target him with prob, but he has prob to target you. So
Mm-hmm. We have. I really can't remember what we didn't go over. Leonardo Chase, where he has the auto-scrolling skate level trait. At the beginning of your turn, you may move Leonardo 1 square and free move with 3 squares in a direct path, which goes along with improved movement characters. He has the TMNT ally martial artist keywords. He starts with a special attack power, which is blades. And then free, move up to 2 squares, but you can only activate it if he missed with a close attack this turn. And he gets a mid-dial hypersonic speed. When he uses it, he ignores hindering in characters for movement, but modifies his speed -3. Also, very, very fun looking, but this is not the chase that a competitive player is chasing down, I don't think.
No. Put him together with the first set chases, poor them.
I like because there are so many free mobility this guy has. But it's only mobility, nothing more than that.
Yeah, considering you can't outwit improved movement anymore, it's nearly impossible to tie him down. So, yeah.
Maybe he can be used to move a lot for free, then call someone in, but don't see him making great impact.
Yeah. Oh, if it's so situational. If he's facing someone that has a charge of 4, if he misses an attack, he can use the 2 frees to move 5, and that's it. It's gonna be yo-yoing that guy. But not many people charge for 4. You're not counting on a charging team. Again, it's so many situational stuff. I think Jay got it. It's fun, but for a chase, it's lacking. With all due respect.
There is one character who charges for 4, but it doesn't matter because she gets carried and does an action after anyway. So her charge
Yeah,
range may as well be 1.
exactly. So so pointless. So you're not even that. The extra move is not going to help you do some shenanigans with distancing.
We finish off many previews today with the laser drone, Pog, Tiny, Psychic Blast, 5 range, Passenger 0.
Next.
Wait, you mean you're not playing this over a Carnage?
Not necessarily, no. Maybe
You see
if
the
I'm drunk.
Mudman Pog. You see the Mudman Pog, and this Pog is like, meh.
Yeah, they've set the bar. I don't know why they did it because it's so different. It's such a difference between them.
Because really,
Anyways,
the Mudman Pog has like lots of text on it, and the other Pogs are like just nothing. They're just standard powers.
yeah. In average, they're all great because you have 4 pogs that suck and then one that it's amazing. Instead of having good pogs, you have a top pog and garbage. With all due respect, again.
Yeah. So that's covered. Not seeing a lot of user questions today for some reason. I don't know why. But we're about to have U.S. Nationals, which is kind of a big deal.
Yep.
There seem to be a fair amount of archetypes coming out, but it seems like Unimind Lockjaw is just the best thing right now.
Yeah, I think we discussed this a little bit in a few past episodes, but and by all means, I don't want to be taken the wrong way, but like the Shredders, it's a forgiving build. I mean, again, that doesn't mean that anyone who gets to play it will play it easy and beat everybody, because they're gonna face skilled players like Daniel and other ones that play with these teams, or Jay, and they're gonna drive circles around, run circles around you. But it is a less dice dependent. Extra perplex helps a lot. An extra prob always help. Pulse wave, running shot, it's always useful. So it's a team that you won't need to rely too much on memorizing the map and having techniques. If you're having a bad day or dice day, you can recover from it. I think they're more easy to play, hard to master, like everything that's good. So, and unfortunately, it is a default. Thiago also covered a little bit saying shredders are hard to kill. It's true. We have to kill them twice. It's also complicated. They keep calling people on top of you. They don't really care. So it's those are the go-to. But I by far don't think that this bars people from having some creative team abusing in cap with the new captain principle, or abuse the colossal retaliation with the wasp and so many giant girls and carnages and surturs. Even the Green Lantern tangent to bring a few of them back, one of them each, and make threat assessment complicated for your opponent. If people are willing to think outside the box, the options are plenty to deal with these two particular threats. They're not easy, they're not guaranteed by any way, shape, or form, but I think that's the beauty of the meta. You have two teams to beat, but you have the tools and you have the options to beat them, at least in my view.
Yeah, I have to
Tiago?
agree with Pedro because we can go with even if the Master Luthor or the Chase God or the Chair Joker. Mastermind's a strong power now, so we can abuse it. We can make even another Unimind build, but instead of Lockjaw, we can go with the Chase Star Fox. Instead of hitting with the Unimind, you can telekinesis Star Fox to the front line, giving him the Mjolnir and start flurrying far away. The 10 squares for 14 attack, 5 damage. So there is a lot of builds you can play, tons of stuff. I think it was last week or the one before, we had a guy playing a cosmic team that wasn't a Unimind. It was the Moon Dragoon and the Star Fox Chase in the team. You have the PJ that was playing Wyrm, so also. So I really think you can play near anything today on the game. The X-Men builds are really strong. You had the Darwin, that the Prime Deadpool, lots of strong characters that can make a big appearance on the Nationals.
Yeah, X-Men team, especially not for nationals, of course, but after the Jet comes, and I don't think they're gonna again become necessarily staple, but X-Men team is gonna have a lot of multi attacks if you don't deal with them in one turn, and they're very hard to be dealt with in a single turn because everyone you call in or it's on the table will likely have an extra attack on you, and it's not something you can not pay attention to, have to be careful. I think pogs are still a thing. Wyrm is great. I mean, everything that's hard to kill or can make your opponents waste a big attack from Unimind or one of their tent poles, to go to waste. It's a lot of tempo, and tempo in this game to me has become increasingly better. Also, maps are incredibly useful. You have a lot of maps. I think WizKids did a good job in terms of providing many crazy maps for people to play around and take the game to the next level. They can still do a little bit more, of course. There's always room, but I think that you don't have to rely on particular. Well, you wouldn't be able to anyway, but you don't have. It's now as rich, let me say like that, as the rock environment was, where you can have an underground from Star Trek, you can have the elevation shenanigans, you can have a Genosha. So I think there's plenty to go around, and people should focus on the big picture of how do I want my map? Do I want it teamed? Do I want to have extra props? Do I want to have how do I put three or four? Do I go for the fourth? Now the fourth retaliation is a thing because Sam Cap coming out and pulling the Professor X, brute Professor X, and killing three Colossus and making three hatchlings is a thing. So four retaliators now is a question. So I think the game is reached to a point there you can think a little bit outside the box. Not to mention the surprise factor of having your opponent trying to deal with a team they never faced before. I'm a big fan of that.
Just to add something, Pedro. Today in the game, I think the biggest problem is the Captain America, the Samantha Cap, because that Captain America breaks one of the most basic rules of the game. So I really think that the strongest character on the game is that Captain America.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree. Where I've said before, I think she's just the best character that exists post rotation, especially considering how easy it is to just slap her on any team. The current overdrive is just 105, and you still have basically a whole team to work with. But I was gonna say we've been talking about Unimind and Lockjaw and whatever, and we've gotten to the point where UXM came out and we were talking about certain figures, but we haven't really seen those kind of characters like Leech, Darwin, whatever. Surtur does exist. He could kill Darwin, but even so, is Darwin an okay play right now, considering that Lockjaw is a thing, Unimind is a thing, whatever, Like I've said before, that the fact that he would break a cosmic theme is a detriment, but even so, like we just saw, the UK Nats team was won by Unimind, Lockjaw, Surtur. You don't necessarily need theme, so.
Yeah. You can go. You want to go first, Thiago? I'll see the floor and I'll catch up.
Okay. I really think that the Darwin is a great figure today. I think people should play it more because it's just not the one damage that he does. He's really tough to take down. Has two stop clicks, has regeneration, has the pick a defensive power he can pick every when he's targeted, when he's attacked. So he's good for mastermind. He's good for a tie-up figure. I used him some time ago with the Star Trek balls. What's the name of that? I forgot the name. The tribbles. Darwin plus tribbles. It's incredibly annoying because he can carry tribble. He can make more tribbles. You target Darwin. He has mastermind. So I really think that Darwin is a figure that deserves a little bit more love because he's a great figure.
Yeah, I think you just have. I totally agree with Thiago. I just think and there's some ways that you can prepare for him. For instance, you can have two Floras, put him in a corner. The Floras protecting him from the range of someone retaliating on him. And that goes a certain strategy away. Or you just have, if you're in a Sandcap team, just go across get overdrive, take a hike, go around the corner, boom, kill Surtur. You can kill up to three with the brute professor. So yeah, Darwin against four Surturs is an issue, but I'm guessing nobody's going to spend 100 points in bringing four Surturs to the game, although it's possible. Less likely, but possible. So I think people are likely afraid to use him, maybe because of some abuse, etc. But he's not a bad character. He can pick his defense power. You can work around his Surtur. You can kind of work his way around with Unimind by picking once and not choosing again. But again, at least you are
Well, not
removing options from
anymore.
your opponent. Well, yeah, true, exactly. Exactly. Not even so. It's awesome. I mean, it should be revisited. Not because of Jacquin. Unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna see plenty. Although it's not like we discussed many times before. It's not that bad. He still does what he's supposed to do. But it's worth considering. If you think everybody's gonna bring the lockjaw, Darwin anyone can get lockjaw, not everyone. Which is not your problem, Jay, for sure, but it is ours for sure. But I think it's worth considering. It's definitely worth considering because if you can protect him with two floors, that's only 20 extra points. Get a water map, the floors will last forever, and you can mastermind to them as well. So again, take some creative thinking and seeing how much you can do with what's left of your team now that you find a way to hinder your opponent with the other 100 200 sorry with the other 245 points. How do you deal with the rest of your opponent's team?
Yeah, I definitely don't think people are actually playing more than one Surtur. Like, I don't think it's ever worth it.
I
You
never
can have
saw someone playing. The
you can
only
have
team
a
I saw
couple, but
using two Surtur was Tangent Green Lantern, bringing Surtur
yeah.
back. Besides that, never. But
Yeah,
I
and
really
I don't know. Like, I like Tangent Green Lantern okay enough, but I don't know. I don't even remember because I did a fringe article, but I did it hasn't come out yet. But I did a lot of characters instead of focusing on one. I don't even know if I put her on there because I don't see her doing stuff in this environment. This conversation reminds me of my friend Emily's team where she had Sam, Overdrive, whatever. The retirement took away like 90 points of her team that she was running because she lost Clarion and she would put a Brainiac on Sam. So just like on that build, you can just throw him on there and just not even think about it. Like what? Like Darwin, Sam Overdrive was 140. You have points for at least one shredder. Like you have all sorts of points to play around
Yeah,
with there.
and don't forget Doc Ock. Doc Ock is still a thing. Outwit is better than ever. The guy can hit 4 times. You got a couple perplexes in. Sam Cap has one, so I wouldn't rule him out. It's a lot of damage. Don't know if it today is worth pulling Doctor Q Bill there because 35 points just to extra for an extra damage on him. It's cool,
But the
but it's a
outwit is good.
what?
Outwit is good too because he has it
Yeah,
too.
it's an extra outwit, so it's not that bad an option. It gets very aggressive. So, and if you want just for fun, you put Jessica Jones in there, so he gets stealth busting. So Unimind, if Unimind's perplexed, he can hide on stealth. So it's an interesting combo. You can again you have many options. I think that's the beauty of it. If you get a Sam Cap team with Doc Ock that can go across the map, outwit a lot of stuff, call in whatever's necessary to do a very damaging first strike, in the hands of a good player, you probably can damage enough so that he can recover. And if you're lucky, you can get lockjaw at least four or five tokens in, and then it's one less thing to deal with afterwards.
Right, but if you're trading your whole team for just Lockjaw, that's not
Not
good
good. That
either.
I agree. I agree.
But regardless, I do think I know Dan doesn't like that Darwin. He says that Darwin isn't good, but I think he's okay. I think there's some potential there. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's very scene dependent, right? I mean, if you knew what everybody was playing, you would take a definitely good decision. It's if you put it or not, right? I mean, we're talking about how to deal with shredders, how to deal with Unimind. So, it's not very useful against shredders. Definitely used against Unimind. If there weren't shredders and there were only Unimind and Lockjaw, we would likely be saying, yeah, Darwin is good and Darwin should be considered. So I think that it's very scene dependent. If you know what you're expecting, he might be great or he might not, because like we discussed, it's his situation. Leech is a bit more useful, costs a little less, but less survivable. But also a good option, but he can be called in for 3 points. So depends a little bit on what you expect to see, and that's part of the beauty of it, on how good you are at predicting and following up what's going on, what's hot, and what people will bring, and your capacity to bring something that's countering the meta and surprises people instead of doing the run of
one
the
figure
mill,
that
which is good. But
I like a lot is the Prodigy. The one that the other counter
Yeah.
to pick a power that isn't Leech or Darwin. Because he's not counter, but he gets the power that was chosen. But he puts your opponent on a more dangerous spot, because if your opponent gets defense power, you will be defensive too. If he goes aggressive, you can go aggressive against him also.
Yeah.
So I think Prodigy also has an ID card, so he can see some play in the future.
Yeah, I definitely don't think you can discount any of those characters, especially if I mean, even regardless of playing with Lockjaw, like both Unimind and Lockjaw are just independently good of each other because Lockjaw's only 75, and even if you are playing against a Darwin, you can still do the push to click 2 thing, and you have running shot, pulse wave, prob, or whatever is still good. But you're forcing your opponent's Lockjaw to play a little bit suboptimally, which is still good. And of course, Unimind is just he's barely half of a force. There's a lot of room to be played around with him. So I feel like just between the fact that those two characters exist and are also going to see play independently of each other, seems pretty good. Like if your opponent's playing Don't Die Tech with like what can you do now? You could do Ironheart, Lockjaw, Deadpool. There's other good stuff.
Yeah, you can. Well, there's the Fast Forces commission or something, whatever PD, but I don't think that's going to be meta at all.
Oh, the corrupt cop.
Yeah, corrupt cop.
Yeah, the Haha Joker also works.
Sure. And if you're trading, if you're playing against that kind of team, I mean, we've seen that before. PJ played it not that long ago. He played at that charity Super Q in Michigan. So if you're trading 35 points to counter, a quarter of your opponent's team, that seems decent. And
Reasonable.
also, he just is hard to kill.
Yeah, and that's the point. If you protect him with good colossals that are also cheap and can be mastermind fodder. Well, for instance, like Thiago was saying, you get okay, it's not going to be team, but at least if you have a Star Fox there with Mjolnir fluoring from range, you can use the Flora to protect Darwin and to protect Star Fox. So it's and you can work around that. It's going to be interesting. So it's like. It's again, I don't want to be repetitive. It's independent. If you know what's coming. One thing I know, I don't think anyone is at home doing their teams and saying, "Wait, I'm not going to do this because Darwin might show up." And maybe someone can bet on it and can leverage a little bit on it, and that's usually how counterplay comes. You get everybody. You don't play Lex Luthor, with the teleporter for 3 or 4 events, and then you show up and win everything because everybody forgot he existed. So you let people comfortable with what the meta is and bring something different to try to counter it.
But regardless of all that, if you guys are playing, what do you think that you'd actually be running? I have not thought about it in forever because I don't. You're supposed to play this game? You don't just judge? I mean, Thiago, you must have an idea. You send me 10 billion teams a day.
Yeah. My last build was a Avengers teamed team, +7. Was a Star Fox with the Mjolnir, 50 points Wasp, 2 Fast Force Giant Girl, and 3 main set Giant Girl, and the 7 ID cards. And some special terrain that I don't remember which one was. Was a 300 Avengers team. The main idea was send Star Fox on the front line, start flurrying guys from 10 range or 8 range if they're practical to attack or damage. Once someone attacks Star Fox, I can retaliate tons of times. And what I like more is retaliate if one of the giant girls, deal damage with her the target, so I can retaliate with another giant girl or with the Vasp itself. So I really like the team. So probably was the one I was going to play.
Nice.
Yeah, I was thinking something similar. Of course, I was looking into Unimind as well, but I do have separated here something very similar to what Thiago was saying. I also consider for a little bit thinking about something a little bit crazy. relying heavy on many retaliators and red leader and tangent green lantern, just again just be something completely crazy. But I like the idea of have wasp 50, many giant girls, and they're all viable options. It's hard for your opponent to deal with all of them. Again, many attacks on your way back. So I think it would be probably something like that. But to be honest, if I had a lockjaw, I would likely consider 50-50 going with Unimind as well. I played Unimind a lot, and I like him for the reasons I said. It's for a long run. It's not very stressful. You know what to do. If it works, it works quickly. Your matches don't last a lot. You don't have to go completely bananas on it. For instance, you get Kenny Pena's team on the Death team. It's an amazing team. But the guy at the end of the day is done, and he practiced more than anyone else. He came up with it, so he's a very skilled player. But it gets you destroyed, man. And if you're gonna go for a long event with many matches, getting something that you're comfortable, that works, and it don't stress you. I saw Thiago in the Rocket. He was first seat for the Swiss round, and by the end of the day, he barely knew where the room was. Like, whatever, take me there, but I don't remember my name. So and we practice a lot the team. So if you get stressed with a team, and it's simple. Quote that, please. Simple. Getting a very complex team can also be something damaging for you on the long term.
Yeah, I've definitely seen times where by the time the last run hits, like you see, if you're watching the game, you definitely see both players making mistakes, which kind of balances out, but you definitely would have an advantage by that point if you are playing a team that does not require that sort of mental gymnastics all day long.
Yep.
And even in the Unimind Lockjaw team, you have so many options. Like every turn, you have to pick 2 different powers at least, as well as ID card cons to consider, whether or not you drop the power cosmic and get the replexes. Like there's just so many decisions there. You're just going to tire yourself out by the end of the day, even if you're very well practiced in the team. But
yeah, and both Jason and PJ says it all the time, and I love it. The more decisions your opponent have to make, the more chances he has to make a mistake.
yeah. The other thing is that every year we're always afraid that like just the team, there's that one team that we always think is going to win, but it never really does.
Yeah.
Like Unimind. I guess Unimind, not Nighthawk, was a thing that everybody basically came up with. But aside from that, like the zombie team base didn't win Worlds that year, won Nationals, but didn't win Worlds, and that was if there's that kind of team, everybody's practicing against it. Like nobody's showing up to play. Okay, like the A tier whatever players are not showing up without knowing how to play against that team, right? Like it's not so good that it's impossible to play against. So
Queen Jet was also an example, right? You've played a lot, and at some point in time when people finally understood how viable he could be, everybody had their strategy for the Queen Jet. Nullify the drones, don't die tech, kill the drones. A long time ago, kill the drones, don't die tech, or get a couple Dockhawks, destroy the Queen Jet immediately. Bring a lot of incap, because at the time IDs were not overpowered and you couldn't call them if you had a token. So, like you said, people will prepare for the staple teams. Lucky for everybody, and to make things more chaotic, which I think is good for every chaotic meta, is that the solution for Unimind is not necessarily the solution for shredders. So you have another thing to think and to consider, when facing these teams, how to deal with that. So I think that's how you enrich the game, having the more options that, X that counters Z, that counter A, that counters B, so you don't have only 2 or 3 teams to pick from, and you have many things. Don't die tech, pogs, things, hella converting everybody into warrior soul, blading everything. Now everything around you has blades and can kill you with a couple hits. There are plenty of things going around. Retaliations are plenty. Groot generating flurry tokens. It's crazy.
I was also considering the Mistress Death plus the Ego Prime. So now every Ego Pog will hit you for 6 damage.
Yep, just get one hit in, and now every time he destroys walls, you have a problem, and she's gonna be untokened for the rest of the game.
Yeah, this is definitely a game where you can't get 100% coverage on everything, but you definitely have to cover your bases with the main couple things. Like I feel like at this point you have to be able to deal with shredders and Unimind, whatever. But aside of that, like there's just so many different teams. Like you're not going to have a team that can deal with 20 giant girls and Unimind and shredders and whatever. You basically have to pick your battles at that point.
Exactly.
And at a certain point, I mean, even if somebody across from you plays something that you aren't the best matchup with, if you're good and you've practiced your team, you know at least know all your options. So
Yep.
You never know what could happen.
Like it's ideally, and not, and let's not forget, ideally you also want to, and if there's no such a thing, otherwise people would collectively find out, but where your team, when you know the weakness of your team, try to know, how to compensate for them. So if you're, would a different map help my team? So if I can't get there and do everything I need to do, can I find a map where it's harder for my opponent to come to me and do what he has to do? So where my team is awful against retaliators. So what can I do about that? So if I find a team with retaliators, how should I play? Should I play more aggressive, less aggressive in a closed map? Try to win map. I think winning map, it's a major thing. You cannot guarantee. There's nothing you can do to guarantee it. But there are things, for instance, Thiago's 7+7, it's a great way to swing things in your favor. But if you get, like you said, if you get your team with Unimind, a couple of floors, and Lockjaw, that's already a 3 advantage, which is not guarantee of anything, especially if you're in a bad day rolling. So I think that it's not only the team, but knowing, again, practicing and knowing what your opponents can bring and how can you play differently where the matches where are unfavorable. That's the best thing, because there are matches that are going to be unfavorable. There are matches that dice will fail, and how do you deal with that? I think George Masu, if I recall correctly, wrote an amazing piece recently about dice and dice failing, and he was saying, no, I started to get very salty, but then I started to take it more positively and say, that's a good way for me to. Nobody wants that. He wasn't cheering for it or hoping that it would happen, but at least he tried to get a positive spin and say, that will force me to play better. So now, instead of just saying I'm going to go there and I'm going to hope that I'm going to hit, and if I hit, I'll definitely have an edge and win the game, let's assume I don't, and now let's plan my play to miss with the dice. Of course, not wishing or hoping, but is this a play that if I miss will expose me too much? Do I have a way out of it? Can I do it in a way that's more protective? And that's how you up your game, to say it's not about I want to make things work, but what if they don't? Can I find a less favorable position when it happens? And I think that's also a big thing when you go to a big tournament. What can I do when I'm winning? What can I do when I'm losing? To know, and what are the things that if happens I'm done for? So then you don't waste energy and you prepare yourself mentally for the next game and move on.
I think we've just about covered the topic at hand. So we'll move on to user questions, unless either of you have anything that you want to talk about in particular.
Now, just in case I don't make until Origins, I just wish everybody very good luck. I'm not ending the show by all means, but just since we're gonna switch topics or gear, everybody good luck. Prepare to have fun. I think should be the ultimate goal. Go there to have fun, to help further the game, to help to make friends, and it does sound cheesy, but it's competitive. It's gonna be a war battle, but do it only while you're playing and do it respectfully to your friends. Everybody's there for the same reason: the passion for the game, for the competition, and that use it as something positive to make the game better, to get with kids pumped about doing it more and more. uh, be creative. I would love to see matches transmitted with creative teams, but practice and do your stuff. I was supposed to go, but when they change worlds to New York, it's a lot closer to New York and Pax and Plug, it's a lot easier for me to get there. So unfortunately I changed my nationals to worlds for obvious reasons. And hopefully I'll see everybody there again. But good luck to all. Make it a great show, and let the best guy, hopefully without Unimind and Shredders, win.
Oh dear. Tiago, anything?
Good luck, guys.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. And also, just having the sealed Team Worlds just means that you can relax a little more. And yeah, it's still competitive, but I mean, if you pull bad, that's just nothing you can do about it. But if you pull decently enough, you play decently enough, you can still do very, very well, and the pricing is incredibly good.
Just to ask, the sealed will be Infinity? The sealed event will be Infinity, the set?
Yes. Will be very
I think
interesting.
as bad as pulling badly is getting 8 bricks on the Rock World Cup to pick 6. Pick the 6. The 6 suck, and then you find out that the other 2 had Unimind, Makari, and Tina on it.
Wait, that happened?
To me, Thiago and
Yeah.
Kenny with our team.
Oh, God.
We had decent teams in Swiss. We qualified okay for top 8, but then we had 8 boosts. They decided, and we all were in agreement just to make matter fresh to redo the packs. And every team was given 8 to pick 2 off and open 6. We picked
Right,
2
because
off.
you got the brick, essentially, yeah.
Yeah, so we picked 6. We opened, we were crap. We played and said, let's do the best we can do. And then out of fun, we said, let's open the 2 ones afterwards, once we're done, to see what we miss so we don't get hung up on the things that could be. And when we opened, there was a Unimind and the Tina, and then Makari and something else in the other.
Right, but that's still only one person's team. Like, that person can win, but if the other 2 lose.
We had a title tour with the strike on Kenny's team.
Yeah.
Huh.
So we had one team. We had one team that made it. Kenny was winning everything because it was really unbalanced. But the other, I had 2 King Cobras in my team. That's how good the pulls were after the first team was set up. 2 King Cobras.
I was playing the Frog Junior.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. The first team were great. In the Swiss round, I had Tina, Torbuster, and Lorelei with the knobbed mace, and it was like just I simply killed every single piece that met the table. I tabled every opponent on the 4 rounds. It wasn't even funny, and I was always saying I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But it was a crazy combination. It was done. But after that, 2 King Cobras. You can't do anything with 2 King Cobras. So.
I remember playing Title Thorn, just missing everything, so that was great. But I'm going to jump into... I guess I'll check Discord first, because we have a Discord, which I can now shamelessly plug the Patreon for. If you donate a minimum of $1, which is the lowest possible option to Variable Clicks Patreon, you can get in on the Discord. There's also the monthly the Hangout, which I don't know when the next one is, but you can get on it if you're a patron. It's a good time, I hear.
Yep.
To hang out
it's
with
totally
Jason
worth
and
it.
Amber.
Yep.
Yeah. So no questions here, unfortunately. We had a lot last week. I don't know. It's a very slow week this week. I don't know why. I guess everybody's...
People are crying over rotation. The fact that it's also happening. They're all boxing their ID cards and super OP pieces and crying about it.
I mean, and Jason's probably busy getting back the whole Civil War sets.
Unpacking the Civil War set back again.
We have Facebook questions only on the actual post. We did not get any questions on the Married with Clicks community page. Share. Eric Atkinson asks, are you guys going to make it out to one of the Houston HeroClix shootout tournaments? What are your top 5 Rock Age figures? Texas is pretty far for me. Rock
and
Age
a little
figure.
farther for us.
Just a little. Just a little far?
Small stuff.
Man, there's been no Rock Age here, so I haven't really thought about it.
Rock Age. I really like the Connelly Dr. Fate. I love that figure.
It is a great figure and even better sculpt.
Well, Nighthawk Prime now. I'm joking, but let's assume that this question was done before rotation. Are there so many things that are broken there? I think Kyle Rayner can still be abused. I think that, Justin can still be abused so much. I think there's... Yeah, just...
How about the movie Scarlet Witch and Fast Forces Hulk? That sound gross enough to anybody?
Yep. That's also
and
cool.
the Fast Forces Captain America to give him a free move. So
Yep.
for 14-6, potentially do it twice. Yeah, it seems okay, right?
It's 2 attacks for 14-6 to begin the game. Decent.
That's also half your team. It's just over half your team. But
That's
still.
yeah. Yep.
So you Captain America, Scarlet Witch, and like 3 hooks.
Yep.
Yikes. It's a
Yeah,
really
but
good thing
Rockets are
that there's no
Super Screw is great. Why not? Super
Yeah,
Screw is super great.
Super
There's
Screw is
plenty of
insane.
stuff.
Well, plus all the
Everything
call-ins
good.
now. Like
So
there's all these characters that are released now. Like that
Yep.
Power Woman. You
Yep.
probably didn't think about her as an ID card because she came
Nope.
out afterwards.
A Rocket is because you're gonna have better options. I think the Book of Skulls now is banned. I don't know if it's only banned in the Majestic Circle, but
Yeah, it's only banned in
Bro.
Majestics, but
yeah.
I thought that they were gonna bring that list to all of the Rock, or maybe they'll look at it or something. But it'll be good because
Because you can do a nasty teleporter now with more and more options. Ophidian, well, it goes without saying, got his own chapter, had to be rewritten. So
wait, which
it's
figure?
Ophidian.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, not errated, but the concept has to be explained to say that you cannot outwit stuff that's not in the card.
I would love to after the new rule book comes out, play Resurrection Man again because he has a new symbol to pick from with autonomous. So just
Nice.
actions don't count towards your total.
Oh, that's interesting. That's true. That's true.
but
Fun. I
really,
didn't think about it.
you can use
And he's
go.
not bad
It's a
if you
great
roll
thing.
decently.
No, it's a great thing. You can go with Resurrection Man, Deadman, and Mystique in the Pandora box. Why not?
Yep. Oh, there's so many undying teams in the Rock Age, that is ridiculous. You can do all sorts of shenanigans with that. That's why I like. That's why I joked, but not really, about Nighthawk Prime. Nighthawk Prime is a great deterrent to an incredible amount of shenanigans that comes from ultra pluses, extra sins, hammers, and whatever else. So he's crazy. He's crazy decent.
Okay. We have one more Facebook question, but I'm going to refresh it and ask and double check that. No, nothing else. Michael Fedor asks, the Alpha Patron here, is WizKid a viable option strategy for keeping him next to a new 2x2 base character? Yeah, I think he's decent. Where there's less primes now that you're going to want to actually play on a team. Like, what's your prime now? Like, if you're not playing prime, I guess Professor X is a call-in.
Yeah, most
But,
likely.
like, unless you're playing prime Deadpool right now, you're not really playing a main for at least until the Batman set comes out, because those primes they have primes and they have green rings. We saw what was it the robot Batman and
Hard Rock
the
Batman.
Clock King. Clock King seems like he could have a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Just inherently with time travel, like that could be really shenanigans. But point being, WizKid it's not really taking away from anything anymore with his prime status, so why not?
I agree. And WizKid is decent. I mean, he does for 25 points. For what he adds up to the team. It's. I always liked him, but it's like you kind of touched sideways to it, which is you always had. I wouldn't say better, but there's no. They were more useful, better gel to your team. You're spending the prime slot somewhere else, so I don't think it's a bad idea to have him. I do like Skits a little better. For 35 points because of the PD and all the things he brings to the table, and he's hard to hit conceptually. But WizKid's viable. I don't think WizKid is a bad piece at all. It was just that he was competing for the prime slot, and the prime slot had some pretty decent options.
Yeah, I really think that one character that I think we should talk about more that I really like and think that he'll get better with the rotation is the dinosaur, the Spider-Man one. And
Devil
Devil Dinosaur with the wing speeds can make lots of great figures because the pogs will have the +1 on near everything. So the running shot pogs with the speeds you just need like overdrive to carry them. But I really think that's a viable option.
Yeah, overdrive carry the pogs with WizKid. That's +1 attack, +2 damage if you're meleeing for the empower. So you can pull some crazy stuff.
Or just throw him on a Sam Cap team and awesomely up whatever call-in you do have.
Whoever call in is gonna come out. Yep.
That looks to be it for Facebook, and I'm going to finish off with the YouTube questions in just a second. Where is it? There we go. No. Paul Waller asks, "Hey all, next big tournament you'll all be at is when and where?" I'll be at Origins next week, but volunteering for WizKids. I don't know what exactly I'm doing, either demoing games or judging HeroClix, but I'm not playing either way unless I can play a battle royale on my lunch break. You two have what? Your Brazilian Open?
Yeah. Nationals in August.
Oh yeah, you have. Sorry, I meant the.
Yes.
No worries. National in August. I'll definitely be in the Worlds in November, and I'll be not for that, for professional reasons, in Mexico end of June. So if there's anything happening in Mexico next to where I'll be, I'm gonna sneak in some clicks in the bag and sneak out of work to play a little.
Well,
I'll
now
be
that you
in
mention
National
it, we
Pedro.
can look up when their
And
nationals is. Just give me a
Oh, yeah.
second. I'm curious. Nationals. Mexico. What does the flag look like? Is that it? Nope. So, problem is that they have all the flags, but if you don't know what the flag looks like, you're a little bit SOL.
I have to ask Pedro, bring me some pepper.
Mexico. Oh, it's in September. Huh. Oh well.
Yeah, but that's it. I usually go to the US once in a while for work. So if I sneak in, maybe, but guaranteed nationals in Brazil and worlds in end of year. Tickets purchased for everything.
Thiago, similar.
I'll go on the Nationals in Brazil for sure. The words are not so sure because the dollar in Brazil is flying, and going flying away.
Yeah, assuming the country won't melt until then, that's also. I purchased the tickets, but if the dollar blows up, might be a main deterrent. But things are looking like they're gonna come back to normal. So let's hope we keep it that way and we can manage.
Nice.
Another good reason for you guys to come to Brazil. You're gonna be rich. Everybody, come
Yeah.
players from the world. We'd love to welcome everyone and show you a nice time and be very receptive. And you're gonna be spending money like the dollar the way it is.
By the way, Pedro, when in Mexico, buy me some pepper.
Yep, I'll do it. I'll be arrested because I can't bring vegetables in the aduana, but I'll try.
Oh, we have a question from Sneaky Brick. What do you think of the potential of a super aggressive Hellion, Infinity, and 35-point Mangog team? I don't know what Hellion is doing with those two characters outside of TKing everything else. But that's already seven? That's already 150 points.
You can't TK two twos, right? So
yeah, you can go bases.
I think his idea is like, I will move with the Infinity power, move the rest of the team that he doesn't say, move with the Infinity, TK, sidestep with Arion, TK the characters, but you are spending like 135 points for mobility, so we are only jumping with 160 points. We're going to jump for what you have to, if you're going to out of this for mobility, you can go for overdrive. That I think can be better. Overdrive and sandcap.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, like why not just play Sam instead?
Yeah, it's could be viable. I'm not a super fan of a particular strategy team or a team that relies heavily on a particularly foreseeable strategy because your opponent can prepare for it. So and most teams will have a strategy to if you're lucky, if with all due respect again, if you're lucky you can play the Goblin King alone at full points with a symbiote and roll everything you need to roll and run away the rest of the time and kill a small character. But I like to have more options and I like to have a team that is not relying on a particular strategy because if it's something simple or close to obvious to be identified, your opponent will have a good time just focusing on disarming that particular gimmick. But it definitely can work. It puts your, and if the opponent's not prepared for it or has the means to deal.
Uh-oh. I think we lost him.
He died.
Brazil doesn't exist anymore, nor does anybody that lives in it. It's
Probably cut for.
Brazil melted.
You got cut off in a major way.
No, but that's it. Yep, it's not particularly difficult to deal with it, but I like it. It's just be careful because it's something that easy to identify and potentially ruin your day.
Yeah, we have another question from Paul Waller. How awesome is Super Rare Wasp making those colossals smaller now? I guess he means the rare title. Surtur attacking regularly is it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Actually, you can Red Leader, Wasp, and Surtur perplex Surtur's damage to 6. Jump with Surtur, make Surtur small, jump with him, hit for 6, deal 1 damage, hit for 6 again. I can see that working.
Yeah, she's really good. That's why we were discussing the Avengers team or something with the extra Colossus. There are plenty of stuff we can do with her. Also with the Fast Forces one, just throwing people out there, retaliation after retaliation, and it's definitely a good point. Definitely a good character. Yes, totally.
So what you could do what? Her, Surtur, Red Leader, Fast Forces, Penguin is only not very many points. So what? You can give Surtur regular plus up attack, Penguin marker up attack. That's a 14 or 5 damage only, but still, you make sure you want to. You can hit, and then you have Wasp punch Penguin just so she doesn't take feedback damage. 14 attack Surtur doing essentially 6 damage and then 5. It seems okay.
And I don't remember the end of the discussion, but I think, unless I'm misremembering, you can probably, but you won't have time, and your opponent will probably do something about it. But you probably can make him small and equip Frog Yonir, which would make him
you can't.
Not anymore.
No, you couldn't because if a figure is bigger than a 2x2, it's just not.
You won't be able to equip. Okay, it's not about the size.
It reminds me of when the Thanos copter, not the vehicle one, came out, and I was like, oh man, it's a flyer, it has a attack symbol, normal defense, normal damage. You can equip it. I was like, oh, you just can't.
A pity, but it's still,
the green stuff. You can equip the kaijus, right?
Oh God, what's wrong?
Yeah, we're past the rock age. I don't even know if they are outlawed in rock age. Probably are.
I think they are because I was like Lord of the Rings stuff was. I remember we were asked about it at one point. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It's stupid. We're stupid. That looks like it. So that's it for all the questions. Thank you both very much for being on. I'm glad this episode didn't go too long because it's already almost midnight in Brazil, the place where you guys live, which is.
We'll turn into pineapple. We don't turn into pumpkins here.
So that being said, I am going to do the ad read and then we're done. We are sponsored by MajesticsCCG.com. Check out their eBay store and their online store. You can also check out the premium site, MajesticsCCG.com/Apex Edge Insiders. For $3 a month, you can get access to all the premium content, but they also have some free articles. Like pretty much everything I rate is free. PJ rates regularly. I'm there regularly. Well, a lot of the really, really good players do, like Easton, Pat, sometimes even Adam Friedman. And all these players will write team lists. So if you're going to an event where PJ is going to be and playing, he's going to post an article with his team. You can get access to that advantage over PJ for $3 a month.
And counter for his team just to make his life miserable.
You don't talk during the ad. Sorry. We are also supported by the ROC, which has a new website up at roc.ionsuite.com. If you want to host a ROC, they have their section for that. Keep up with the news and track all the podcasts in the section they have for that on the site. If you want to know what comes in a kit, you can look that up. If you want to know how to run an event, they're starting up their judge incentives hopefully soon. So, yeah, all the relevant information you need for the ROC is there. And as we sign off on this week's Meta Lab, always remember to practice, make your team better. Have a good night, everybody. Bye, Brazilians. Goodbye.